Hey folks, thank you for coming to Back to Basics for Season 3. Today we're going to speak with Jocelyn Chong, and we're going to find out what she's all about. But there's one thing that I did find out about her, is that she's a powerhouse woman, and she's an amazing woman with a really awesome attitude of life and how she's transformed her life from a personal to a business entrepreneur life. And she's also an author. So she's really amazing. Let's go and speak with her and get to know her better. I'll talk to you later. Hi, folks. My name is Girish Bali. Thank you again for coming on to Back to Basics. Today, we are going to have an exciting guest. This is the first time that I'm speaking with this guest. But for those 10 minutes, I think I've known her for at least a couple of weeks, maybe not a month. And by the end of this episode, I think it'll be a year that I'll get to know her better because she's an amazing powerhouse of what I've understood from her for the last 10 minutes. And let's get into that and stop wasting time talking to me. Why don't we talk to her and get to know her better, who she is and what she is? Jocelyn, how are you? Thank you for coming to Back to Basic.
Oh, wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Thank you again, Jocelyn. Thank you again for coming here. I'm very, very honored. Before we start about magnetic, and as I've actually said that in the introduction, can you tell me what does back to basic mean to you?
Ah, I like it because it's simplified. In the world that we live in, every time we make things more complex, whether it's running projects in our own life. So back to basics mean let's dial back, let's delete, let's unsubscribe, let's clear it out so that it's basic and it's clean and it's fun and it's enjoyable. And we create more space for a lot of more wonderful opportunities that come our way. So
Yeah,
that's what back to basics means to me.
awesome, awesome. Thank you again for answering that question. Thank you again for coming on Back to Basics, a very, very small podcast, but at least you supporting me, that's all that matters. So thank you again for coming here. So let me ask you this. Before we get into the details of the topic today, can we explain to people who you are and what you are, and then we'll just dive right into it if you don't mind.
Sure. Malaysian born Chinese, Australian by choice. I've lived in Australia since 1997. So I had the honor and privilege to work in the banking sector in Australia for 22 years.
Mm.
And after which I had an awakening. And so I decided to set up my own coaching and consulting business. And I will share more as we go along, but that is the short version of who I am. Today, I am an international best-selling author, keynote speaker. I'm a business strategist and also a networking specialist.
Mm. Wow, thank you so much for being here, and great for you to be an author and coming from where you are, and you ended up after 20 plus years later. Uh, are you do we say that, are you happy right now as where you are, or do you still struggle from where you were and today? Do you think, does has the diversity kind of changed around the world? What are your thoughts on that?
So there's a number of key points that you raised there. So number one, diversity. It has really improved over the last 5 years.
Mm,
And what I found is that the more I choose to embody who I am,
mm,
the easier it is for others to allow me to step into their world from a diversity perspective
mm.
because I am responsible over what I can control.
That's right.
And so if there's anything about diversity that the audience or listeners can take away is to take responsibility over what you can control
Mm,
and how you can make a contribution positively in the world. And then the next part is yes, I've been in the corporate sector for 22 years. And where I am today is I am truly, truly blessed to live an abundant, joyful life because it takes a number of years to reach to where I am. I had a very successful corporate career, but I was never happy because I was always chasing about something every single day.
mm,
So it was a lot of conditioning that I was brought up in that I wasn't aware that I needed to do a lot of inner work to help me understand that my alignment needs to be from the inside out,
mm,
not from the external, to help me be happy. Because I was chasing a lot of the next promotion, the next house that I want to buy, or the next, car that I want to purchase. And it's all about external that I never took the time to really understand what is in my inner voice that wants me to produce and contribute to the world.
mm,
And so it took me 2 to 3 years to step back, learn about myself, learn to build relationship with me.
mm,
And that's where the back to basics comes back, right?
mm,
That a lot of times we think that we need to go further externally, but when you come to the basics of things,
mm,
if you dial back the layers,
mm,
that's where you learn to discover who you are.
mm.
And when there is that alignment, you will create a life by design, and you enjoy the deliciousness of what is available to all of us every single day.
I totally agree with that. Thank you so much for answering that question because I actually resonate with that. I've told my story from season 1 till season 3 that I was born and brought up in Hong Kong, came to the States, and my origin is Indian, obviously. And being in the States for the longest time, yes, there are struggles. And I don't have to get into the details of that. People can understand what those struggles are. But the thing is that I was more of an extrovert. So I actually met a lot of people and network with people and understanding who they are, and then slowly I kind of understood what I am through my podcast journey. So now the question to you is, with that story that in mind, are you a extrovert or introvert or ambivert when you transitioned into your network strategy, meeting people, understanding who you are and what you are?
So, what I've learned about myself is I've always thought that I'm an extrovert because I don't have a problem talking to anyone and have a conversation with strangers. But what I found is that it drains my energy a lot. And then I would go into a space of rest and recuperation.
Mm,
So, when I started studying about human design, I realized that my profile is a projector. And for a projector, especially my 3-5 profile, and you ever studied human design, is very much an integration of your personality, your energetics, and a number of other key areas as well to integrate how you contribute from an energetic perspective into the world.
mm,
I did that study in December 2020 and I was introduced to that. And I realized how much I had not lived in my profile. I continued to press forward because that's what the world expected of me. So
mm,
I thought success was meant to be that formula.
mm,
But as I got to know who I am and peel back the layers and had more time to really reflect, I realized that if I am in my zone of genius and if I am really living in my own energetic profile, I am far more effective contributing to the world.
mm,
And so I learned to dial back and then show up where I should be showing up because there's so many different ways to show up this day and age, right? There's offline, online, summits, keynote speaking. There's tons of way. But all that can be depleting our energy if we don't actually use our energy properly.
mm,
And so when I started to peel back and go, what is the best way for me to show up and how can my message be seen and heard? I realized that podcasting is one area for me to really show up, that I can just enjoy having conversations with anyone that comes into my pathway and support them, empower them. And then I have my own time to retreat, recuperate, so that I can bring in even better quality message,
mm,
more creative when I go out to nature, had a hike, go down to the beach, have a walk. So it was all these things that I thought it was not necessary. It was only for those who have got, 4 or 5 weeks of holiday. And I shifted that over COVID
mm,
and realized how powerful it is to go back to nature.
mm,
And when I'm back in nature, 90 minutes, 2 hours, I found that I can bring even more quality content, product,
mm,
suggestions, recommendations to my clients and my audience.
mm,
And isn't that far more useful and resourceful to the community that I want to support? So, yeah, it's all that self discovery, right? And it's a lot of watching my own thoughts, doing my inner work, creating a deeper self awareness,
mm,
and testing what worked, what didn't work.
mm,
And that I realized I kind of am an introvert because I'm really happy being with myself. I could spend a lot of hours with myself and
mm,
I'm not dull, I'm not bored.
mm,
But at the same time, when I'm in a crowd, I'm an extrovert as well. I'm
mm,
happy to, host a event and workshop and lead, anyone that comes in. So I think it's just acknowledging where my strength is and how I need to recharge and reset
mm.
effectively for me.
Yeah,
So I hope that our audience will walk away and think about who you are because you are uniquely created. And so if you discover more of who you are and build a relationship with who you are, life would be so much a joyful ride
mm.
than it is now.
I totally agree with that. Thank you so much for understanding that, because you know what? Then I guess you call, actually both of us are considered as ambivert, right? Because we can turn on and turn off whenever we want. And I guess re-energize, is that the right word do you think that we should be using?
Yes. And also find what kind of methods energizes you. Like a
Mm,
lot of people, it could be writing, it could be just journaling. Others could be taking a bubble bath, you
mm,
know,
mm,
or, going down and play sports with a bunch of people. Or I love, for me, what energizes me is when I go to a new restaurant and I'm experiencing the new ambience, the way they display their food. It's like that excites me, that energizes me.
mm,
And so we need to understand more of what energizes us so that we can, build that energy up and then share
mm,
and be very clear in where we want to share our energy as well,
mm,
and set healthy boundaries. Because when you know how to set healthy boundaries, you are actually going to help others set healthy boundaries for themselves as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Let me ask you a question. When you created this book of yours, do you think, um, which one came first? Do you think the storyline came first, or the title came first, or did it come naturally for both?
For me, the title came first. And when I started to write, I had so many stories to share, but is to choose the right story for the right theme and to also connect with my higher self. At this point, these are the stories that I'm going to put together in this book. And then, I have 4 books. So every book has different stories that I can share.
Mm,
I am in my 40s, so I've got tons of stories to tell. A lot of lessons that I can learn from my past, and lots of failures and lots of rock bottoms. So I've got lots of stories that I can tell and share and help others quantum leap and learn from my mistakes and my, hiccups in life. So that's how I had crafted the way I share my stories in my books.
Well, thank you so much for writing that book, and hopefully I'll grab that copy and then I'll start reading it. And then if you don't mind, I'll connect with you offline to exchange notes on that, because it seems like we need to pick each other's brain to understand why did you think the way you thought. So thank you again for that. So Jocelyn, so we started a new segment on Back to Basics, which is the rapid fire round. And the rapid
Mhm.
fire round has words and sentences, whatever pops in your head. Let's go and talk about that, if you don't mind. Are you ready to go and play that
Sure.
game?
Yep,
Okay,
let's play.
so the first word is going to be coaching.
Coaching. So here's what comes up. Everyone needs a coach, and you will need to find a coach that works best for you in that season of life. Because you need a coach. The best people that earns the highest have got a coach, and they've got quite a few coaches, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, and they stay with them for a long time. And so find a coach, whether it's a coach for tennis, whether it's a coach for writing, whether it's a coach to be a better parent, look for one because they will help you accelerate your growth.
The next one is going to be diversity.
I love diversity because it enriches the world and it nourishes us in so many different ways. So be open around diversity and actually be aware. When you move around in different boardroom setting that you're part of, look around. Is that a diverse background?
Mm,
When you are actually in, a speaking opportunity, is the panel a diverse group? When you are in any workshop, look for opportunities for people with diverse voices to speak and contribute their views, and be so conscious to accept different views that may not always be in your agreement,
mm,
but be open minded. Because
mm,
once you think in that method, you will actually allow more opportunities and possibilities to come your way in a diverse thinking style.
mm. Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. Corporate.
Corporate. There is a season for people to work in corporate. There is a season not to work in corporate. There is not right or wrong. But ultimately, for me, corporate was giving me so many opportunities to explore, to test, to experiment so many different things. And I met so many amazing, amazing people throughout my corporate career. And so, if you are in a corporate sector, by all means, build relationship with people,
Mm,
learn from each other. Don't sit in your corner cubicle and hide.
mm,
Build network. Go out, go back to your office now because we are, post COVID. Go back and build community with people, and don't hide just behind that Zoom link or Google Hangout. Go out and build relationships with people in the corporate. Whereas for entrepreneurs, you know what? Reach out to corporates. They need your support. And likewise, you can also support them as well. So see where there are synergies that exist
mm,
and enjoy.
Wow, thank you. Next word is extrovert.
Extroverts are really good in this world because we need a balance of extroverts. Sometimes we think that extroverts are loud, they are arrogant, they know it all, but extroverts also have got their moments where they don't know everything, right?
Mm,
Doesn't mean their persona is very out there that they have got it all. And they equally need the right amount of support that we can offer to everyone. And they also need, emotional support, mental support, spiritual support. And so support each other and be aware and don't assume that extrovert have got it all.
mm. Thank you. Um, you can make this choice now: introvert or ambivert.
Introvert.
Okay. So let me ask you this: human design. What does that mean to you?
So, human design is about this study on all our energetics, and there's five profiles. And where we are at our profile, there's like a whole heap of gates, and the theme of success, the theme of non-success, a whole heap of stuff. You need to look into that with a human design specialist.
Mm,
But what I wanted to add my 2 cents with around introvert is that, you know, step out. Even if you actually improve by 1% every single day, you are 1% better.
mm,
So remember this, even if you're shy, you're unconfident, don't go the other way.
mm,
Improve just 1%.
mm,
And that you strengthen the muscle, whether it's a speaking muscle, whether it's a networking muscle, whether it's going out and sharing your point of view,
mm,
do that.
mm. The next word is magnet.
Magnet. You know how magnet just really pulls with the right magnet and the rest just doesn't work?
Mm,
So, magnetic is what I call a lot of the work that I do. And if we go deep into who we are
mm,
and we actually understand who we are better, we will magnetize the right community, the right crowd, because we are energy being and will vibrate in a way that really attracts the right community into our world. So be a magnet. Whether you're a client magnet, you're a money magnet, you're an abundance magnet, be that magnet.
mm. Thank you so much for that. Um, onion. I know it sounds
Onion.
I'm gonna explain it later on. But what does onion mean to you?
Ah, onion means, people with all sorts of layers. Now, I want to make mention this, right? There's brown onions and there's red onions. And I have to say that, in recent years, I've added a lot of red onions into my salad, which is adding a fresh new flavor. So, just from a vegetable perspective. But from another perspective, we all are like an onion, right? We've got so many layers. Every year, every month, we are like an onion. If we start to peel it away, you see more of the true essence of someone, the uniqueness of someone. And
Mm,
so I'm inviting our audience and our listeners to allow yourself to peel off the layers that no longer belongs to you, because we always evolve, we always grow. So peel that onion off and pull that layer off and allow whatever that's new, whatever that's fresh come into your world, and yeah, connect that way. So that's what onion means to me.
awesome, awesome, awesome. Self care.
Self-care. So everyone should have a list of self-care items that works for you, right? What does self-care means to you? You might want to journal that and think about, right, for you it might be just a glass of wine on a Friday night and just chill and read a book. For me, it could be a bubble bath. For someone else, it could be every quarter you book a weekend away and just chill. Detox from social media, from emails, from everything in the world, and just go off grid. And that could be a great way for self care.
Mm,
Other ways is, make sure you look after yourself. Make sure that you drink enough water, you eat nourishing food, you have physical movement, so you move your body, and make sure that I would always include this, but check your blood to make sure that things are right with your internal body,
mm,
right? We externally can look really well, but internally you do not know how our systems, our organs are actually functioning. So I
mm,
highly recommend that our audience to do a blood test every second year,
mm,
because I think it's vital. If you're of age, always check, and if you've got good blood, give. We need a lot of blood donors to help a lot of other you know situations around the world that needed blood. So that's another way.
mm,
But back to self-care, I hope that those are the areas that would spark more ideas for you to create your own list that suits you and
mm,
help you stay very fresh, very relevant, and very value add to the community.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. And the last two, the Jocelyn,
Jocelyn,
Jocelyn.
I am I am an amazing person. And why do I say that? Is because I believe that wholeheartedly. If I am amazing, I believe equally you are. And so, if we are both amazing, we are going to compound amazingness in this world and make the world a better place. So,
Mm,
let's do that together. You are amazing, and I am amazing.
awesome, awesome, awesome. And the last word is back to basics.
So, there's a lot of things in life that is getting more and more complicated. It is so vital for us to pull back and really have a look, reflect. Is that necessary? Sometimes we add a lot of steps to make it look good and sound good because it feels like we work harder.
Mm,
But the reality is that it doesn't equate to the results that we are looking for.
mm,
So, to start off, if you can cut back 30% of whatever you're doing right now
mm,
and monitor the progress, whether it's going to help you progress further or the other way around.
mm,
I promise you, if you dial back more, you create more white space for your life or for your projects or for your business, and you see things more clearly. So let's get back to basics.
awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for playing the game for a rapid fire round. And you have explained it so well, and you shared so much nuggets. I think I'm gonna go and grab a few nuggets for myself too, if you don't mind. So thank you again for sharing that. But you mentioned that you're gonna take a glass of wine and start reading. If you had a choice, what book would you be reading and what resonates with you? I mean, it could be a entertainment, or it could be something really self-caring, what actually kind of excites you when you read your or read any book?
So if I do have a glass of wine, which I don't normally do, I don't drink. But if I have a glass of wine with a nice book, it's always a novel. It's something that takes me into their world, into a movie, right, of what they have written.
Mm,
And that is exciting. And that's powerful because storytelling is so powerful. It really helps to switch our mind and
mm,
take us on a journey somewhere. And if you want to switch off, that is a great way to read a novel and get yourself, whether it's mystery or crime or shopping or whatever it may be,
mm,
make it fun, make it enjoyable, make it unique to you. And I use the word uniqueness a lot because I want it to be unique. You are all unique.
mm,
We all have different thumbprint. We all have different eye that no one can replicate. And whoever that's being birthed today, as we speak, will never be the same. So why not be you and enjoy being you?
mm.
Life is good when you are being you.
Of course, of course. Thank you again for being a sport, and thank you again for coming on Back to Basics. But before you leave today, do you have any last words to all my Back to Basics listeners and viewers? I know you have shared so much of nuggets, a lot of nuggets, and I think you must be tired now. But whatever you think it's left, I mean, you have a lot way to go, and you just begun too. And then on top of that, how was your journey on Back to Basics too? On top of that.
So, a couple of things. So, what I want to leave our audience is self love. Love yourself deeper this year because it's so important for you to invest in you. The more you love yourself, the more you can be a blessing on this planet. So, find ways to love yourself more rather than be harsh or critical towards who you are. The second thing is how I have dialed back to become more basic in what I do. I actually declutter a lot of what I've got in my life: my clothes, my shoes, my bags, all the stuff in the kitchen, or the amount of decluttering. And then, a lot of stuff, we consume a lot of content, but do we actually use them, implement them, or process them? If you don't use them for the last 12 months, my recommendation is declutter them. And every single week, this is what I do. I actually unsubscribe, delete, clear my inbox because it's easier to have an inbox that is clean, easy to find materials, have folders, than a cluttered inbox that is so hard. It feels like a jungle that you get lost in. So go back to basics, keep it simple, keep it clean. And if you can make things as simple as 3 steps, go for it. Because it doesn't require more than 3 steps to do things. And that doesn't mean that you skip the important parts. Actually, keep the important parts and make it simple to process.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing those nuggets. You know, I did most of the cleaning myself too. And I'm not even talking about the home and the closets. I'm actually talking about even electronic stuff or even just subscribing to, let's say, Netflix or Amazon for that matter. You know, there are other many different things, but then you can also save money too at the same time when you declutter some stuff. So thank you again for sharing those points because I think we need once in a while a reboot or a recharge for ourselves and saving money also at the same time. But thank you again for
Yes.
being on Back to Basics and sharing all those nuggets with all my listeners and my viewers.
Most welcome. Thank you so much again once for having me on this show.
Thank you, thank you. So guys, today we spoke with our guest today and we talked about the basics of declutter, energizing, recuperating, self-caring. Self-caring is the way thing that people they just don't do. You know, people don't realize that self-caring is so needed because we're so busy in our lives. We don't really understand, do we? Because we're so busy and we want to finish everything off. But out of those 24 hours, you need to take some time for yourself. Now, as usual, as always, there's a quote of the day from Back to Basics, and hopefully my guest will like the quote. Happiness, you'll find, is the greatest magnet in the world. Honestly, I watched this TV show just recently, and they were playing a game to win money. And you know what he says is that you won all this money. Do you know what you're going to do with it? And you know what his answer was? Happiness. He doesn't care about the money. I know he's on TV and he's trying to make a facade out of it. But think about it for a second. Money is just material stuff. What inside is the happiness. So, guys, as usual, as always, what do we always say at the end of the episode? Everything in life goes back to basics, and that's what we did today, guys. Guys, take care. God bless, and I'll see you next time on Back to Basics. How was that?
Great.
Awesome.
How did you feel?
I felt great. I think it was the best. I had a feeling that it was going to be really good. Thank you so much for doing this.
Most welcome.
I hope I did okay as a host.
Oh, it was good. It was easy.
It was easy, really.
For me, I love conversational and I love to be.
Hi guys, thank you again for tuning in to Back to Basics and listening to the excellent episode that we had today with our guest. You know, with your love and support, we do need you to at least rate our show, review our show, because it does make us stronger day by day, week by week, as I usually say on my episodes. And there are 3 things in this episode that it makes a hit for me, which is the content, the guest, and definitely the host. So guys, take care, God bless, and remember, everything in life goes back to basics, and that's what we did today, guys. Guys, take care, God bless, and see you next time on Back to Basics.